Last season, about midway through, we made a video on this channel calling for Marcus Satterfield's job. At the beginning of this season, we both agreed maybe we were being hasty. We decided to wipe his slate clean and judge him fresh off of what he can do with a dynamic quarterback, because clearly that's what he needs because he loves passing. But after that putrid offensive performance versus Ohio State, where Nebraska was only able to muster one touchdown off of several red zone visits, it seems like at least 75% of Nebraska fans have written him off completely. It seems like you're there too, Gary. No judgment. I just can't help feeling that if the refs don't bend Nebraska over a barrel all game, and if Raiola doesn't miss some wide open shots to the end zone, that Satterfield would be viewed more favorably right now. I kind of feel like people would love him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the harsh reality of it, is when any aspect, up until today, people couldn't jump to a mic or a message board or whatever quick enough and say, Foley's got to go. And to start our stream, you were giving me shit about backing him up. And I've been backing up Satterfield in the sense of all these coaches at this level are here for a reason. But unfortunately for them, you're relying on 18 to 20 some year olds to execute your plays and make you look good. And I think this game really goes beyond that. For sure, there was a lot of missed blocks where plays could have sprung. There was a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, there was two very noticeable bad throws by Raiola that would have been touchdowns. One to, I think it was Jacory in the back of the end zone that he overthrew him, and one to Banks going down the sideline to the end zone. Both were wide open. He overthrew both of them. The officiating, all of that stuff aside, let's look at the defense. Hartzog had a hold that was called that caused a third down, which would have been a 3-and-out stop, kept the drive going. There was other pass interference or things like that on the defensive side. There was little gaffes here and there on the defense, like the touchdowns that were given up, blown assignments, or just not being able to match the speed and guys getting beat. They're good enough, and Tony White knows he has guys in the right positions to compensate for that, to still, on the whole, look back at this game and go, Tony White called a great game. The defense played amazing. To go, Ed Foley has obviously been able to work with Hall more kicking, and not is Alvano coming back. The return game, we didn't have gaffes of guys catching at the one and going out of bounds. We didn't have any block punts. We didn't have, other than individual errors like Bushini's first punt, and it's really all I can think about, there weren't any gaffes on the special team side. I don't know that that's permanently fixed, or if he was just on fire today kicking. We'll see that in the future. I'm usually one of the oddballs where I don't hold coaches as accountable as a lot of other people, because I always look at, if he has to go, why? What is it specifically you want replaced, and where are you going to get that? I'm not a fan of, well, the offense isn't clicking, so get rid of the coordinator. Okay, and then do what? Get another coordinator that somehow can make guys throw accurate balls when people are wide open, that somehow can get receivers to block on the perimeter better. If there's a guy that can do that, okay, great. I don't know how you do that, because I know we hear that they're working on that so much in practice. The glaring issue for me is that multiple weeks, it's like situational football doesn't exist on the offensive side of the ball for us. It's just, I like these plays, and I'm going to randomly pick these plays that I like, no matter if it's 3rd and 1 or if it's 3rd and 19. It doesn't seem to vary as far as, like, let's say Bryce Benhart. Benhart's really sealing off the edge and getting into the second level on linebackers. So I'm going to go a little more heavy running to his side, or I'm going to run these screens more to his side because he's clicking, or this receiver's having trouble blocking on the perimeter, so I'm going to stop bouncing plays out to that side, be it screens, jet sweeps, outside runs, whatever. I don't see that happening throughout a game. It's just, I want to do this, so we're going to do this. Or Rule wants me to focus on the run game, so I'm just going to keep pounding the ball even if it's not working. It's a mixture of everything. Last year, you could chalk it up to, it's the first year. The team's obviously not that good. You look at the record that same team had pretty much put up under the last few years of Frost era. You didn't have a legit quarterback. You thought you did with Sims. You found out that wasn't going to work out. So now you've got a handful of quarterbacks that can't really throw. So you're limited to a ton of option. You give a guy the benefit of the doubt. This arsenal of wide receivers is one of the best ones I can remember in recent history. by far the highest rated quarterback we've ever had, albeit he is a freshman. And that's why we're talking about some of the gaps he has, especially in pressure situations. The offensive line's been together a very long time for the most part, the core. You're not going to have most of those guys next year. You're going to be getting guys like Bricks and Sledge and the other guys from the past or whatever that have been sitting there kind of on the shelf developing, and you hope they can come in and play well. But if you can't muster up more than one touchdown a game consistently over the last few weeks, I don't know what else is missing. You know, we watched the Rule press conference and he talks about this championship mindset and the guy's ready to go get it. And you saw the special teams literally come out of nowhere and have a very good game. The defense finally put together 4 quarters of just very, very solid game. And this is against Ohio State. This isn't against Rutgers or Purdue or some of the other teams we struggled with and then pulled away. This is a whole game of very, very good special teams, damn near flawless, aside of the couple plays that Rule mentioned on the defensive end. You even got a turnover. You won the turnover battle until that last ball that Raul threw at the end of the game when it was 3rd and 19 or whatever. Like, you're kind of hoping and praying at that point. Something has to change. If we're missing something because we don't have all the information, and I don't expect that we're supposed to know all the little inside workings, what is it? Just be like, hey, these things are all right there within roughly the next this many games, or this time next season, or once we add this piece or we get this guy going, whatever it might be, this offense is going to work fine. We're just not quite there yet. A lot of people aren't going to like to hear that. That would honestly, I'd be like, okay, I trust those guys because that's all they do all day long, more than I do anything else. And they're around those guys 24/7. There doesn't seem to be any kind of answer, any kind of hope for the future. And it's getting to be a regression that's that's the consistency of the offense. It gradually gets worse and worse every week. I'm not a fan of calling for people's heads, or like I said, just blindly saying, let's fire a guy without knowing what you want to replace him with. I just don't know what else you need. I don't expect you to go put 45 up. You've got a freshman quarterback. You've got arguably your best receiver is a freshman who's not a physical guy that's going to be able to block on the perimeter very well for you. So it's like, I'm taking all these things into factor, but I'm also looking at, you have arguably the 2 best guys on your offense are freshmen that you cannot afford to have leave in the transfer portal. So are they going to be cool with this continuing to regress throughout these last 4 games of the season and then carry on into next year? Or do they love Satterfield? Maybe I don't know, but I'm saying, from as an outsider looking in, I don't see where things are going to magically start turning a corner. And now all of a sudden teams are going to be like, well, shit, we got to worry about Nebraska's offense. But I feel like we have a lot of the players that should be the narrative when teams are game planning for us. I'm not big on calling for people's jobs. It's to a point now where if you could have gotten anything out of that offense, you have one of the greatest upsets in the program's history.